All right, if they're not on yet, well, that's on them. That's not on me. So I'm going to assume that everybody liked the way the week closed. A little bit of network buying, a little bit of buying from the room. Very strong close the last couple of days, thanks to a couple of my brokers and Christopher Moore hammering them to send a message. You may not short my stock anymore. Anybody catch that? Anybody notice how easily they can be beat back with a stick called volume? Today was an example of exactly how scared they really are. We did next to nothing today. Yesterday, a couple 100,000 shares. Beat the living hell out of them. Today, we sat and we watched and we waited. I think it's clear Shorty has thrown up the white flag here. He knows he's beat. Things that I can tell you. The company that I believe to be the short is also the company I believe thinks that they are going to get the entirety of the S1. I have strong reason to believe, and I say it the way I say it because I have to, so understand that now. I have strong reason to believe that that particular entity that I believe to be the short is not going to get even the tiniest little piece of the S1. I have reason to believe the S1 will be approved in short order. They are doing what they call a targeted review, which means they already had current information on the company itself. If you're not muted, please mute yourself. Thank you. Targeted review means they're only reviewing the S1 documentation, the filing itself, and they either approve or deny. The SEC is backed up. We cannot move forward on the S1, close on the S1, price the S1, take any money from the S1, or issue any stock from it until such time as the SEC has approved it. We did have legal counsel from the company today ping them to get some sort of a status update. They reiterated that they would not need to review the entirety of the company, just the S1 filing, that they would get to it in short order. We are near the top of the list, and they understand that they are late and they are very apologetic. We discussed, without discussing any great detail, our guy, the real Din, in the room. You guys know who he is. That gentleman posted uh, probably a week and a half to 2 weeks ago a question. That question indicated what he believed to be four potential options for what was going to happen with the S1 and with the stock and with the news and direction of the company, etc. And I proposed that there may be a fifth option. Without going into any detail about what that fifth option might be, I made a suggestion that what if someone were to put a certain amount of money into the company, help us to get listed on multiple exchanges, and help us to gain widespread adoption of our stablecoin worldwide on those exchanges. I believe the intention was to start with Coinbase. Uh, while I cannot confirm or deny that this fifth option is a reality, I have strong reason to believe that it's going to be none of the previous four options. I can't give any detail. I can't guarantee one way or another that's what's going to happen. I can tell you that there's an individual in my network that I introduced to the company that has the wherewithal to do a similar option to that I indicated. He is a believer. He has the kind of money that would be necessary to make that type of investment in said company. Should that occur, I believe the book value of the company would be somewhere in the range of $14.50 to $15 a share. More importantly, should that particular option occur, you would likely see the stock gap up to those kind of numbers. I say likely because you never know who's going to sell in between here and there. You never know who's going to buy and how much between here and there. But as far as fundamentals are concerned, if the numbers are what I expect the numbers to be or hope the numbers to be, the book value on the company would actually be $14.49. I expect the trading to exceed the actual fundamental number because people don't buy stock based on what you've done. They buy stock based on what you're going to do. I would expect to see it gap up in the $15 range. And then you factor in the fact that we've got better than 2.5 million shares of stock short that has been reported as borrowed, specifically to short against the stock. There is an additional, in my estimation, 1.25 million shares that has been shorted naked. That's 3.75 million shares plus that would need to be covered. I can tell you that the entity that I believe to be short is not aware they're not getting the S1, and they won't be made aware of the fact that they're likely not getting the S1 until such time as we have some press out there. I also have reason to believe the S1 should and could be filled at a premium to the current market price, thus limiting the dilution. I don't expect there to be more than somewhere between 5 and 7.5 million shares of additional dilution to the stock based on the S1. You guys, I assume, are with me so far. I know you've all muted yourselves, so I have to assume that you're with me so far. I think the company deserves the type of investment that I'm trying to make arrangements on. I think the company deserves the S1 to be filled at a premium to the current market. This is what I've been working on. I think if you guys watched the trading in the stock yesterday, I did a third of the volume I did when we first came in, and the stock moved similarly. We did nothing today, and the stock did nothing. That's a white flag in my book. They tried early, they failed miserably, they went away. I don't think that they're going to continue to short, A, because I don't think they can find any more stock to borrow, and B, because they can't short naked anymore. Even Citadel, who's in court with the SEC right now for manipulation of these bids and asks and the price of stocks, doesn't dare play with it anymore. There is the distinct possibility that they have someone in our chat room monitoring the situation and trying to gauge what they expect to go on with the company, with any potential investments, with the trading, with the S1, etc. That would not surprise me in the least. They do have excellent resources. They're going to lose. They're going to go and buy in the open market whatever they don't have coverage for, which at this point I believe is a minimum of 1.25 million shares in the open market. And I believe that would be above $15 a share that they'd have to go find it. Now, I'm sure at 15 there are going to be some sellers, but I still believe trying to cover 1.25 million shares that you've shorted at pennies is going to be much more difficult to cover in the $15 to $20 range. This bodes well for all of you. Now, again, can't make anything as a factual statement. I can only tell you what I'm personally working on. I can tell you that the CEO, Tan Tran, is very accepting of the possibility of that type of investment and the S1 being filled at a premium versus at a discount to the market, which is the norm. That's all I can tell you at this time, gentlemen. And if you noticed the trading yesterday and today, you understand we can move it. We still got plenty of buying power. We've even got buying power in the room. And we can sit tight and we can do nothing. And they're just scared shitless to do anything. And I know you saw that today. And then Chris closed us strong anyway. Just to say, hey, yeah, we're still here. Good call on not shorting anymore. Chuckles. I love it. It's beautiful. Anybody have any questions? One at a time, please.
When Lambo.
Couldn't tell you if I knew, but you knew that was coming.
I got three things actually.
Fire
Who is Chris Moore?
Christopher Moore is one of your counterparts that's in this room and on this call, likely, currently. He is a broker, a financial advisor, and
Okay.
he is one of the early investors in the company, and basically a stand-up guy who believes.
Okay. Second question.
Continues to add.
Second question. Any update that you've heard on the court case? Because that's another however many shares he would have to buy, correct?
Well, we don't know exactly what has been sold or shorted against that position or his wife's position. I can tell you that his wife has 1.5 million shares that is legitimately free trading. He has 3.25 million shares, I believe is the number, that is not legitimately free trading. I initially believed that it was her selling stock in an attempt to hold the stock down so that it would be less difficult for the husband to cover. My understanding from my conversation direct with the attorney for the company is that they are still in the discovery process, but they expect, and they use the word expect specifically, a summary judgment in favor of the company.
Okay. And then my third thing is, I appreciate your consistent donations on the poker table to my son's college fund, Dan. That's very, very appreciative.
That's not really a question now, is it, Chuckles? And last I checked, I've played 4 weeks and I've won 2. And I was absolutely dominating a third and pissed it away to some chucklehead who doesn't know what he's doing, but went all in with every deuce 7 hand he got and won.
I'll play your
And you
cards right,
saw
and
it.
I'll
And you
let
saw
you
it.
catch
You can't
tonight.
even say nothing. Just mute yourself, Larry. You're wrong. Anybody else? Questions? Anyone? Lots of listening. Nobody with questions to ask.
Do we have to wait for S1 to be completed before there's a PR about possibly number 5?
It is not a necessity to wait for the S1 to be completed to release news on any particular topic. News regarding the S1 will not be released until such time as the S1 has been cleared by the SEC. When I said no news until the S1 is approved, I meant about the S1 specifically.
Are you allowed to even ask or tell us what your long-term forecast is for this stock? Like 1 year or 5 years down the road?
I can tell you collectively the network believes the stock to be worth anywhere from $25 to $35 a share as it stands right now. That is not my opinion. That is the opinion of several seasoned professional brokers and financial advisors and accredited investors. The collective believes it's worth between 25 and 35 just based on the compliance of their stable coin as it stands right now today, ready for the current regulatory environment and future regulatory environment should they decide to regulate stablecoin as a bank. Because of our partnerships, we're covered.
I got one question, Daniel. When you say, when you talk about white flag, do you consider that they will not come again attacking the stock?
I don't think they can. I know they can't short naked anymore because I've talked to lead counsel as well as trading compliance for every market maker on that box, enlightened them as to what I believed was going on, and they had confirmed to me that they had closed the loop, and no one would be able to sell stock in this company unless they could verify they had borrowed shares that were viewable on DTCs or they had shares in their own account that were viewable on DTCs actually deposited, electronically trading, and verifiable. And there's nothing left to borrow. They've already shorted against all that. That's why they were dead today. They didn't do anything because they couldn't. Can't sell what you don't have anymore. That's a problem for them because they're used to getting away with that. I've been doing this a long time. I have a lot of phone numbers for a lot of people who can say, hey, you're caught, stop. Anyone else?
So you say your network thinks it's worth 25 to 35 a share right now. Does that mean that there are potentially actions that the company is working on behind the scenes that might drive that further up in the future?
Yeah, they believe that once the product is launched and there is some widespread adoption of the actual product, that the stock would be worth anywhere from $25 to $35 a share in their educated opinion. It's not my personal opinion, but in their educated opinion, based on having an actually compliant, fully regulated stable coin in a market where most of them are not, if not all of them are not, that it's worth 25 to 35 now based on the launch and actual adoption. There are many things the company could do, acquisitions, partnership agreements, etc., that would obviously extend that price range. Some of those might be in the works right now. Anyone else?
One more, Daniel. Do you know why, or can you tell us why there was no official PR on the white papers?
I don't have an answer for that. That was Tan's decision, and he's the CEO. It's his call. I don't think it was necessary. I think dissemination of the white papers to you guys first was high on his list of priorities. He wanted you guys to see it before the rest of the world. Number one. Number two, the people that needed to see it saw it because they got it right after you got it. I don't think any press release was necessary with regard to the white paper. I agree with him.
Are we still looking at possibly getting your new contract ticker today?
I can't give you the new ticker until such time as they've signed the contract, and I actually can't start working with the company until such time as my contract with Vemanti has expired, which is a long-term contract, because they have gone the extra mile and guaranteed themselves exclusivity.
Okay, thank you.
When they sign, I can give you the symbol. It'll be a couple months before I can do anything with it. So you'll have time to play with it until I get in there.
Has anyone in your book actually seen anything past the beta that's available online?
How could they? They can't see any more or do any more than you can.
Gotcha.
They have as much information, regardless of how much money they might manage, or how much they might dig, or how many questions they might ask. Like you all dig, you all fish. They do the same thing. They get the same answers. Couldn't tell you if I knew, Joe. Anything else, fellas? Ladies?
Just thank you very much for everything.
I'm just doing my job. And you guys are doing a hell of a job, by the way, with regards to, getting in there and supporting the stock and getting in there when it's running and making sure that they don't play their game. You guys are a big help in that regard. Don't make no mistake. Can't do this without you guys too. Some of these guys in the network get lazy, or they get complacent, or they think they've got enough. And frankly, with regards to this stock, I don't personally think you can have enough of it. So when they get lazy, you guys kind of spark them and they get off their ass. Any more questions, gentlemen, ladies? And by the way, with regards to any potential press releases or filings, we are sort of at the mercy of the attorneys. So when something is submitted to them, they take whatever amount of time they take to go over it, to make sure that it is compliant, to make sure that we are not sharing any information we're not supposed to share. To make sure certain details of the transaction that they don't believe should be in the press release or in the filing are not in there. That is out of my control once I hand it off, just for future reference. When they come back with their decision on what that's going to read like when I submit something and they send it back, TAN can override that. It's generally not a great idea, but if there's something that I think is an integral piece in any press release I might write that they decide that they don't want in there, TAN can override that if I find it important enough. No more questions? No more comments? Nobody wants to be a smartass. We got a minute.
I'll pass.
All right. Well, I'm going to get to my daughter's trunk or treat and let her get a buzz off some candy and come back and kick Larry's ass at poker. That's my night.
Sounds good, mate. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate the time, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your
Enjoy.
weekend. Looking forward to a very good week next week.
Take care, Daniel. Thanks for your time, bud.
Take care,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye bye.